There's a rock sitting in a lab drawer right now that can cool the air around it without a single moving part, without a drop of refrigerant, and without pulling meaningful power from the grid. It sounds like a gimmick. It isn't. It's called zeolite. And scientists have spent the last few decades quietly figuring out how to turn this porous mineral into one of the most promising alternatives to the air conditioner sitting in your window right now? Stick with me, because by the end of this, you'll understand why some of the biggest names in cooling research are betting on a rock instead of a compressor. Let's start with the problem, because you already know it. Your electricity bill spikes every summer. The AC unit hums all night, drips water outside, and eventually needs a refrigerant top-up that costs more than it should. Multiply that by every household, every office, every data center on the planet, and you get a global cooling industry that eats an enormous slice of the world's electricity and leaks refrigerant gases that are ounce for ounce, thousands of times more potent than carbon dioxide when it comes to trapping heat in the atmosphere. We've built an entire civilization around a cooling method that is fast and convenient, but also expensive to run and quietly damaging in the background. And most of us have simply accepted that as the only option. Here's the part almost nobody talks about. There's a completely different way to cool a space that doesn't rely on compressing gas at all. It relies on a mineral that behaves like a sponge for water vapor, and that sponge-like behavior on its own can pull heat out of the air. This isn't some fringe idea cooked up last year. It's been studied seriously in engineering departments and national labs for decades, just never marketed to you the way your split AC unit was. So what actually is zeolite, and why does this even work? Zeolites are a family of minerals first identified back in the 1700s that are riddled with microscopic tunnels and cavities, almost like a piece of stone that's secretly a labyrinth. Some zeolites occur naturally, others are synthesized in labs, and chemists have been engineering the pore structure of synthetic zeolites since the mid-1900s for uses ranging from water softeners to industrial catalysts. What makes them special for cooling is a process called adsorption, not absorption. Adsorption means water vapor molecules physically stick to the surface inside those tiny tunnels, and that sticking process releases heat. Reverse it, apply heat to drive the water back out, and the zeolite becomes dry again, ready to grab moisture from the air once more, and that release of moisture as it evaporates creates a cooling effect. It's the same basic principle behind sweating cooling your skin, just engineered into a mineral instead of your pores. Now here's where the real history gets interesting, and it's different from what most videos on this topic will tell you. Back in the early 1900s, there actually was a serious rival to compressor-based refrigeration, but it wasn't zeolite. It was a chemical pair, ammonia and water, used in absorption refrigerators. These machines ran on heat instead of electricity, which made them genuinely useful in homes without reliable power. They lost their place mainly because their coefficient of performance, essentially how much cooling you get per unit of energy, was roughly a fifth of what compressor systems could deliver. It wasn't purely a story of industry money crushing a better technology. Compressors were, in a very real sense, more efficient at the time. Zeolite's story is younger and quieter. Serious research into zeolite adsorption cooling only picked up momentum from the 1970s onward. It's largely driven by the oil crisis and a sudden global interest in squeezing cooling out of waste heat instead of fresh electricity. So this was never a home appliance that got buried by big AC companies. It's closer to a technology that simply hadn't been invented yet when compressors won the first round. Fast forward to today, and the pressure that's reviving this research is very real. Grids strain during heat waves. Refrigerant regulations are tightening because of their environmental impact. And engineers have realized that enormous amounts of waste heat from factories, engines, even data centers are just being thrown away every day. Zeolite adsorption chillers are attractive precisely because they can run on that leftover heat instead of demanding fresh electricity. Feed one of these systems hot water at 60 to 90 degrees Celsius, water that would otherwise just be dumped. It can produce meaningful refrigeration with barely any additional power draw. This isn't theoretical anymore either. Adsorption chillers using zeolite are already being tested and deployed in refrigerated trucks, where they run off the waste heat of the engine rather than draining the vehicle's battery. Solar cooling projects use zeolite systems paired with rooftop collectors, since the sun conveniently provides both the heat needed to regenerate the zeolite and arrives exactly when cooling demand is highest. Some industrial cold storage facilities use them specifically because they're nearly silent. with no compressor vibration, which matters in noise-sensitive environments. The catch, and I'll be upfront about this because that's how we do things here at Hidden Fix Lab, is that these systems still lag behind compressors in raw cooling speed and compactness. They tend to be bulkier, and they need a steady heat source to work well, which is exactly why you don't see one bolted to the side of your house yet. That said, there's a small, honest way you can experience the underlying principle yourself at home. And it's a fun demonstration rather than a full AC replacement. Get activated zeolite beads, the same material used in aquarium filters and some dehumidifier products, easily available online or at hardware stores. Spread a shallow layer in a wide, flat container and place it in a small enclosed space, like a cooler box or a tent, alongside a small fan to circulate air over it. As the zeolite pulls moisture out of the air, you'll notice the space feels drier and slightly cooler, especially in humid conditions. Because lower humidity makes your body's own evaporative cooling more effective, even if the raw air temperature barely changes. When the zeolite becomes saturated after a few hours, spread it out in direct sunlight or a warm, dry spot for regeneration, and it will release the moisture and become reusable. This won't replace your air conditioner. I want to be completely clear about that limitation. But it's a genuine, low-cost way to see the same physical principle that engineers are now scaling up into real cooling systems, working right in front of you. A few honest limitations before you try this. Zeolite dust shouldn't be inhaled in large quantities over long periods, so handle it the way you'd handle any fine mineral powder, ideally outdoors or in ventilated spaces. It also won't lower a room's actual air temperature by any dramatic margin on its own. It primarily affects humidity and the comfort that comes with it. Anyone expecting this to substitute for real refrigeration, especially in extreme heat, will be disappointed. And that's exactly why researchers are still working on scaling these systems rather than declaring the problem solved. What I find genuinely striking about this story isn't that a magic rock is about to replace your AC unit next summer. It's that the technology we ended up with wasn't necessarily the only path available, just the one that made the most sense given the tools, materials, and energy prices of a particular decade. 100 years from now, someone might look back at 2026 and wonder why we spent so much electricity cooling our homes when the leftover heat from our own machines was sitting right there, unused. Sometimes progress isn't a straight line forward. Sometimes it's a slow circling back to an idea that simply arrived before the world was ready to use it properly. And maybe the smartest move, whether in engineering or in everyday life, staying curious enough to keep asking whether the default option is really the best one, or just the one that happened to win first. Want to be notified when Claude races?